Was it a decision from Girl Soup as a collective that, okay, Jeff, it's your turn to direct something, you're going to go do it? Or was it that you had this idea, you wanted to do it, and they said run with it?
That is a great question because Girl Soup isn't necessarily like it's your turn, now it's your turn, and now it's your turn.
Okay.
We are actually constantly throwing ideas at each other, and I really love kind of the freedom to just speak about a project that you have bubbling in the back of your head or an idea for a short that you think is funny. You can just bring that to the group. What I've noticed though is that there is this sense of energy behind certain projects where we're like, oh, that needs to be made now. And we just kind of know. For now, I think we're going to keep rolling with this idea of just, yeah, bring stuff to the table, write something, we'll all read it, and then we'll know when it's right to make that our next immediate project. But truly, we're not putting a big red X over any project. We hope to get to every project that someone has brought to the table. But yeah, it does seem to be based on kind of just like we know, which is kind of an ethereal answer, I guess.
That's good. That means y'all got chemistry and know how to read each other. You have a familiarity, so tight group cohesion and trust. That's a great thing.
Mm.
Um, and I saw on your Instagram a still from the short. The quote was, "So your motivation is you're a giant tentacle." Did you really tell somebody that on set?
Believe it or not, something very close to that. And here's why. Here's a fun little piece of trivia. So the tentacle, as you can tell, is inflatable. That was how we had to go about it. We had looked at puppets. We were getting priced at $10,000, $15,000. I would love to spend that. I just simply do not have that. I would love to. And they would have been beautiful puppets. So we had to think outside the box. We were like, okay, either the movie doesn't happen or maybe it's like a glove. It's like we make it just this big and someone can kind of like it'll just be a small tentacle. We were like, that doesn't really sell. We were really trying to bubble around what it could be. And it was Michael from our team who went to Amazon and looked up inflatable tentacles. And there they were, a slew of different sizes, different shapes, different colors. And he kind of impulsively bought one. It was well within our budget. It was maybe a couple $100. It really was not that much. The first time we blew it up, we were like, I think this is going to read on camera. I think we might have found something that is going to work. But getting it to move is the thing. Because, if it blows all the way up, it's too rigid. You've seen these things, these bouncy castles. It was kind of like that. So we were like, what are we going to do? What we ended up doing was I went inside that tentacle and sewed 4 pieces of string at different areas and had them essentially these long cords and then tied a little with colored tape to the end. Julia, our team member, sit inside of the tentacle and in the scenes where it's moving, I'm literally yelling pull the red, and she would pull red, or I'd be like, pull yellow, pull yellow. So she's in there puppeteering the tentacle too. I think it works. Look, I'm not saying it has to look like photo real, but it's moving. You know what I mean?
The fact that it was such a relatively cheap prop, I think, added to the atmosphere and the experience of the short. So I'm glad you didn't go with a more expensive, all fancy, what's it, Jim Henson Studios thing. I like that it was an inflatable. I do. I really do.
I
So
think
that
I
worked
think you're
out.
onto something. Yes, that there's such a charm for what it looks like. I agree. There's something about it. I don't know.
Scrappy. Like,
Scrappy.
we know we
Yes.
don't have the budget, but we're going to make it happen.
Yeah. And I think because and here's me being the director again, but I think because all my actors played it completely straight. They're not looking at it here's the tentacle. No, they are cultists. They're worshiping it. Raymond is scared of it. Because they all treat it real, it makes it funnier. Because it's, it is this inflatable tentacle,
Yeah. Now, when is that going to become available for people to see? Because I saw it once at a film festival, but I'd like to see it again. I'd like to share it with other folks. Any idea of what kind of release that'll get and when?
Oh, thank you. That will be available this coming fall after it has completely finished its festival runs.
Good.
I did mention that the Philip K. Dick Film Festival is coming up, so we're going to be screening at the Museum of the Moving Image here in New York City, which I'm absolutely flattered and honored by that one. We're still waiting to hear back from just about 7 festivals. So as the year goes on, we'll know whether we got in or not.
Okay.
And then by the fall, we're planning to drop it on YouTube, have kind of a YouTube release promotion about it, and hopefully get it some views on YouTube.
Great. Yeah, because it deserves it. It's such a fun short film.
Oh,
And,
thank you.
I'm glad I saw it. And what was it like directing folks? Had you directed anybody before in a dramatic performance?
Never. This was my very first time directing. So I really just had to like learn from my friends who had directed. They were very kind with me. They helped me in the pre-production process, told me what I needed to tell them. For example, I knew the concept of a shot list, but I don't think I knew how to write it out. So
Mm.
Michael sent me a template and was like, this is what I use when I do a commercial. Or I had some help with getting ready to go for pre-production. I also sent them inspirational videos and pictures. So I'm throwing From Beyond at them. I'm throwing Big Trouble in Little China at them, stuff like that. And then on the day, it's just one of those things you just kind of have to trust that your eye for what's working on camera is the right choice. So I treated it like I was helping a friend with an audition. Or like helping them with a tape for a commercial, like these self tapes we have to put together. I'd let my actor run it, and then I would just give a very brief note, the same way that I'd be like telling a friend, even if it's as simple as, I remember there was one moment where Raymond goes up to the door, knocks on it, it creaks open. In his first initial take, this was his no notes version. He just enters. I watched it, and just from a visual perspective, I was just like, all right, Ray, do it again. Just give me a quick double take. That's all I need. Just like the look behind the shoulder. Again, not very method. I have to, to bring up like the method. It's like, I need you to just double take. But I love that moment in the film. It's very tonally correct to have just like a funny little look over his shoulder before he enters. And so that's kind of how I treated it. Just let my actors run it and then give a very technical note, I think is how I would describe it.